Well, hello darlings. Welcome back to my channel. It's Neffy here. And I'm back with another one. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. I know y'all see me in my natural state, and it's not because we're quarantining. I do this whenever I want to give my hair a break from the weave. Yes, go ahead, look at it. It's puffy. It looks like a bush. Like, I gotta rock with it though, because I don't always want to wear a weave all the time. So anyways, so today I want to make a informative video about relationships. Now, I am no expert. I am just someone who has experience being in relationships. And there are things that I didn't know about that I wish somebody would have told me before I got into relationships when I was younger and even as an adult. So I'm going to tell you a few things that you should do or what you can do to avoid certain things. So just listen up and tune in. Now, I had to write it down on paper because I wanted to make sure I hit every point and make sure it's more like professional. So the very first thing you should do before this is for those of you who are deciding to take the next step in a relationship, where you feel like, okay, we went through the talking stage or we went through the courting stage. Now I think it's time for us to date and become boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay, before you become girlfriend and boyfriend, before you say yes, before you ask them, just think about these things that I'm about to introduce to you. The first thing is always pray about it. I think it's so important. A lot of times I think we don't want to pray about it. Oh, I want to find the person I want to find. God's not going to give me the one. No, one thing about it is if you pray about it, I truly believe God will give you the person that you need. Not so much of the person that you think you want, but the person that you need for lifetime. So it's good to pray about it so God can put the right person in your path. Now, for those of you who may not know who God is, I encourage you to see for yourself. Pray to Him. Go to a local church and talk to a pastor. Talk to people around you who know about God, that can tell you about God. Get saved. Find a church that is good for you, that helps you grow, and really let God in your life, and it will help you live a better life. We all go through trials and tribulations, even as Christians, but at the same time, you'll have a way to get through it, which is through Christ. We tend to struggle more when we don't let God in our lives. And you can see, if you look at the world right now, the world has taken God out of everything, and this is the results. But this is not what we're talking about. So anyways, the next step, number 2, be whole with yourself first. Now, I made some good points on here. Now, what I mean is, don't carry baggage from previous relationships into this new relationship. So if you know you have an ex that you just broke out with, you still have feelings involved, you're not fully healed, you still have a little bit of hurt and pain, but you're just trying to move on to ignore the pain, or you just want to date somebody else, I encourage you to not do that. Allow yourself to heal. Take some time. It's one thing if you want to talk to people, and don't get too serious. Let your heart heal first, because you don't want to bring in baggage from an old relationship into a new relationship. And what I mean is, you may bring it on, or something may have happened to you in your last relationship, and you get into this new one and you expect this person to be the same exact way. Now that's toxic. And why? Because you didn't let go. You didn't heal from what happened to you. So, you may have scars, but we have to allow ourselves to heal first before we give our heart to somebody else. Because truly, if you're hurt and you're giving your heart to somebody else, you're not really giving them all your heart, boo. Do you even love yourself? So also, like I said, make sure you're healed. Make sure you're good all the way. Make sure you're in a good space in your life. And I mean spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, etc. Like when I say spiritually, have a good relationship with God, so God's leading you and guiding you to know where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do. That way you're going down the right paths and not going your own way and messing up and bumping your head. We all do. I'm just saying, when we let God guide us, it's a better result at the end. Also, when I say mentally, make sure your mental state is not like suicidal. Make sure you're not just looking for someone just to take up the time. Make sure you're not trying to get with someone just because they have money. You're not doing it for the wrong reasons. If you're getting into a relationship and you want to get serious with somebody and you want to take it to the next level, make sure your mental state is in the right place. Don't do it for the wrong reasons. And you know in your heart what's wrong and what's right. So don't do it for the wrong reasons. Also, emotionally. Make sure you're emotionally good. Like, okay, if you feel like you're emotionally okay, you know, you got over your ex, you're over, it doesn't bother you, you know, you're not bothered by it, you're not upset by it, you're not crying by it, okay, and you feel like you can really move on and nothing's wrong, and you feel healed, and you feel like, hey, your dues is done with that relationship and you're moving on, okay, that's, you know, that's one thing. But make sure that you're emotionally okay, even emotionally with yourself. Make sure you're loving yourself, you know, make sure that you think highly of yourself, because you are a reflection of that person. If you date them, you guys are a reflection of each other, so you have to think of yourself highly, so that way you can see them highly too. So you have to make sure, you know, you're not a negative person. You don't want to put them down. The whole goal of having two people together is to be able to accomplish more than one person. You have to know what you need, and you have to know what you want before you get in a relationship. I think a lot of times we don't think about it. We're like, I just know he's fine, he's tall, you know what I'm saying? He got swagger, you know, he got a good job. But what do you need mentally? What do you need emotionally? You know what I'm saying? What do you need? Not just financially. What do you need for him to give to you? And what can you give to him? You know what I'm saying? You have to, basically, this is all knowing what type of person that you need in your life. I believe that as we grow, we should be more intentional about who we date, what type of person we date, and why we want this type of person. And because, like I said, the goal should be for marriage and to be together forever. So if we're dating as we get older, you know, if you're younger and you're dating, just trying to figure things out, you'll see, like, okay, you know, don't put all your eggs in one basket, you know, make sure you take your time, become friends with them and stuff. We'll get to that. Anyways, know what you need in a relationship. Okay, so I need someone who is compassionate. I need someone who is strong. I need someone who is dominant. I need someone who is smart. I need someone who is kind. Whatever it is that you need in somebody, make sure you know what you need and don't settle. If you know what type of person that you need in your life to help you, don't settle. And then also be the type of person that you want someone to be. So also, financially, a lot of people don't think this is important, but I think it's important. As we get older, I believe that we should be more financially, you know, comfortable before we get in relationships. Because when you get older, right? As you get older, you're going to start to date for marriage and not just date just to date, you know, so you have to have a purpose with your dating. It needs to be intentional. So if you guys are dating and you guys want to build, you know, it's good that you have your own stuff. You have your own job. You have your own car. You have your own house. You have your own money. You have your own way of income. And if you don't right now, you're working towards your goals or your purpose. You're not lazy and you're not just sitting around expecting for someone to take care of you. Now, I know a lot of women feel like it's a man's job to take care of women, but I personally believe if you are not married yet, you should still be having something to bring to the plate. It shouldn't just be the man. Now, it's different. Like, you know, if you guys are in a relationship, you know, if you need help, he helps you. And if he needs help, you help him. You guys help each other. But make sure that you are financially stable before you pursue a relationship. If you're able to do that, then do that. Now, I know some people get in relationships where, hey, right now I don't got it all like that, but I'm trying, I'm working here and I'm trying to pay my bills. You know, as long as you're trying, make sure you have a goal. Make sure you have, you know, make sure you are, let's see. You're working towards something. Don't just be living life just to live life. Make sure you're working towards something so you guys can grow together. You guys have to have a foundation. And so that way the foundation can be strong. And that way you both can help each other. So if it's possible, you know, everyone has their different scenarios. There's different ways that people meet each other. And I'm not saying you have to have all the money in the world, but just make sure that you're trying to become financially stable. Cool. Y'all, I'm sweating. Y'all, I'm nervous. I don't even know why I'm so nervous. So don't just go into a relationship blindly. Don't do that. Don't just go into a relationship because your emotions are flowing. Oh, yeah, I'm really feeling her. You know, she's beautiful. You know, she got it going on. Yeah, I'm really feeling him. I think we're just going to date. And you guys haven't went through the stage of being friends. Y'all haven't talked a lot. Y'all haven't been on a few dates. You haven't seen this person mad or happens or something bad happens. You haven't seen how they reacted to it. You haven't seen every side of them. I'm not saying you're going to see every side of somebody before you date them, but you should get to know them as much as you can. Because if you get to know them as much as you can, then you can determine, is this the type of person that I want in my life or not? A lot of times we just jump into the pool, okay, and we just start swimming and we don't even know if there's sharks in there. We don't know if there's crabs. We don't know what's in there because really we just jumped into the pool. So go through the friendships stage. You know, even if you like them more than a friend, go through that stage. Talk to each other. Talk about your fears. Talk about your strengths. Talk about, you know, what's on your heart. You know, you don't have to give them everything, but talk, you know, talk more, you know, hang out, you know, and hang out for a while so you can see different sides of them. You know what I mean? And just see what type of person that they are. Take your time. There's no need to rush, because when you rush, sometimes you might rush and then you get into something that you don't really want to be in. Now, that's one thing I've never did. Like, I always just took my time, and I would see, is this the type of person I want to be with? And I've never been with somebody who I didn't want to be with. So it's important to take your time. You have to be willing to give. Okay? If you're ready to take your relationship to the next level, honey, you can't be selfish no more. It's not all about you. That's the whole point of two, honeys. Boo-boo biscuits. Okay? You have to be willing to give. That means you have to be willing to compromise. Like, okay, say for instance, you date a guy who likes baseball and you think baseball is so boring. You've been to about 2 baseball games and you just couldn't pay attention. You just couldn't focus and you just couldn't do it, and you don't like it and you don't want to do it. But you are dating somebody who's really into it. This is their passion. They love it. You may have to compromise what you want for what they love. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a bad compromise. You know what I'm saying? And really be supportive. Go to the game. Learn how the game is. Learn how things work. How do you get a point? How do you get something deducted? Like however the game works, really be into it. Don't just act like you're into it, because that's something that they're into. So you have to give, and you can't always just have your hand out in a relationship. You have to be willing to give. You have to give love. You have to give patience. You have to give an ear to hear. You have to, you know, you're opening up your heart to that person. You know, so there's so much that you have to do, but it can't just be all about you and all about your feelings. You have to be considerate. If a person tells you, listen, this is how you're making me feel when you do that, and even though you may not mean to make them feel that way, you still need to acknowledge what they're telling you and how they feel about the situations. Oh, okay, dang. I didn't mean to make you feel like that. I do apologize. That wasn't my intentions. I was just trying to do this, but you know, I'm sorry. You know, recognize how they feel. You know, really take that in. Take that serious, because that's serious to them. If they're expressing something about their feelings, that means that's serious to them. So take that in. It's not all about how you feel and you don't care what they got to say. It's all only your feelings. Don't do that. That's selfish. Okay? And like I said, y'all, I'm not a professional, you know. There's a lot of things that I learned from a relationship. Doesn't mean it's all bad. There's a lot of good things I've learned. There's a lot of things I've learned about myself in areas that I can even get better at, you know? So I just want to share with y'all what I know. So sometimes I believe God will have the right person in your life, but it might not be the time for y'all to pursue a relationship. Like, what if y'all just meant to be friends, you know, and eventually in the future, you guys may come together. So that's why it's important to be mature and to really make sure you know what type of person you want in your life. Okay. Now, here's a big thing that I really wish that someone taught me. But you know, it's not always up to people teaching you things. We all learn through the process. But listen to me. Nip it in the bud. What you mean by that, Nefertiti? Like, nip it in the bud. However you want to be perceived, how you want to be respected, how you want to be talked to, how you want to be treated. This goes for both parties. This goes for both of y'all, not just one person. You have to nip it in the bud. And I mean, you have to let the person know at the beginning of the relationship, here's what I will tolerate and here's what I won't tolerate. And then they'll tell you, well, here's what I will tolerate with you and here's what I won't tolerate. If you nip it in the bud at the beginning, you won't have to worry about trying to fix it during the relationship. And when I say nip it in the bud, okay, so say for instance, you know, you tell people, okay, one thing I don't like no one touching my face. I know, you know, we might be lovey-dovey, just don't put your hands on my face. Stand your ground. Don't let it, you know, don't be shy about saying what you like and what you don't like. That's the whole point of a relationship. You guys learning about each other. You're learning what you like and what you don't like. So nip it in the bud. If you're the type of person like, listen, I don't like all this screaming and yelling and all that and throwing stuff. I'd rather us just sit down and talk about it. Or if you're too mad, you walk away, I walk away, we come back together and we talk about it. I'm not down with the screaming. Whatever the case may be, you have to nip it in the bud. And you can't just be the type of person that talks about it. You have to be the type of person that walks it. You know, you have to walk in your talk. Like if you're saying, hey, I don't want you touching my face, God really let them know. When they go to touch your face, I'm not trying to be rude. Like I told you before, I don't like no one touching my face. You know, be stern, be sure of what you want. It's not about being rude, but there has to be boundaries, and that's on both ends. There has to be boundaries for each person, so that way things don't overflow. So that way there's a structure in your relationship. There has to be a structure. All right? So anyways, now, whoo, honey. Whoo. This next one's a little tough one, honey. Ooh. I think a lot of us do this. I think it's not just women, men too. Never lose your worth. Never lose your worth. Don't you dare start losing your, don't start slipping. Don't start thinking negative of yourself. Don't give so much of yourself where you don't have nothing for yourself. Where you're pouring out all your water into another cup and your cup is dry and you're still trying to pour something. There's nothing to pour. Make sure you're rebuilding yourself. Make sure you're reminding yourself of who you are. Make sure you're reminding yourself that you're strong. Make sure you're reminding yourself that you're beautiful. Make sure that you're reminding yourself. You have to love yourself. Even if somebody else loves you, it wouldn't matter if you don't love yourself. You have to love yourself. Make sure you know your worth. Don't let no one water you down. If you're the type of person that you're just honest and you keep it real, and you're not being rude, you're not trying to be, offensive towards anybody. That's just how you are. You're like, hey, listen, sorry, but that outfit don't look good. Like, you're like that type of honest. Don't let nobody water you down. Be who you are. I cannot express this enough. Be who you are. A lot of times when we get in relationships, we lose who we are. And that's women and men, because we give so much to the other person. All right, I'm giving this to them. And everything's about them. You want to make sure everything's cool for them. You want to make sure everything's right for them. You want to make sure, lift them up. Everything's about them and you forget about you. And that's not their fault. That's not their fault you do that, because we're supposed to be supportive to our, to our significant other. However, you can't forget about yourself, because if you don't start to fill in positivity in yourself and, remind yourself of who you are and not forget who you are, know your worth and stand firm in your worth, you can truly lose your worth and not even know yourself no more, because you gave it away, and you chose to give it away because you're giving so much of yourself and not enough to yourself. So, like they say, don't let no one water you down if they can't handle you 100 proof. You are who you are. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to change. You don't have to try to be like this person because your boyfriend likes the way this type of person is, or you don't have to try to be like this dude because your girlfriend likes it. No, you be who you are. That's all you can be. We need you to be you, so be you. And yes, don't forget to love you. Don't forget to spend time with yourself. Here's one thing about it, when you get in a relationship, sometimes you just love that person so much that you want to be with them all the time. Trust me, I understand. That's how I was. I all the time just wanted to be with my ex. I just wanted to be in his face. I wanted to do wherever he's at. I wanted to be, and I just love him, so I wanted to be around him all the time. So he became my best friend, so I really didn't want to be with no one else for real. However, it's important to still hang out with friends. It's important to still go on trips with your friends and do stuff separately, because you guys, even though you're a couple, you're still individuals. So you have to stay true to who you are. So, don't forget to still live your life even though you're in a relationship. Don't dump everything. Don't let go of everything. Don't push away everybody just because you're in a relationship, because, you're not married yet, so make sure that you are cautious about that and don't lose your life, so that way you can give somebody everything. And I'm not saying to people who do have people, I'm not trying to come at nobody okay, because you did give her everything, you're wrong. No, honey, because there's nothing wrong with giving your whole heart, there's nothing wrong with giving your heart to people, but you have to make sure that you're not giving everything to them where you have nothing for you. That's all. This was just a couple tips that you guys could take from me. Hopefully it helped y'all. Hopefully you guys can, use these tips and think about it before you approach another relationship, before you go into something, before you make it serious. Just really think about it, pray about it, make sure it's right. Take your time, ain't no rush, God bless y'all. And listen, I understand a lot of times a lot of people are looking for love, and you want love so bad that you tend to settle. Don't get desperate. There's somebody out there for you. There's somebody out there for all of us. So I hope this helped y'all. You know what I'm saying? I hope it was a good video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you guys have a blessed day. I have plenty more coming. I have some good things coming, y'all. Some things I want to present to y'all, but I don't want to tell y'all until it really gets flowing. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. God bless y'all. Have a great week. I got more coming. Stay tuned.